Property in the middle of California, because you say California, not some places will say California.
You're really IDA.
That's a
It's
good
all
goal.
moving.
Across the
These are laid
street,
out.
they travel to school.
Cool.
So that works out.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I know.
Always been paid.
Let's do it.
The Livingston associate stuff where it crosses over. No county.
Yeah. Is that in that Paris report, you'll see Scottsville. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Livingston County Industrial Development Agency, roll, looks like we're all here, but Christie's on her way. Communications.
I had one communication that came in yesterday before the agenda or after the agenda was put out. We do have a request for consideration for the prison property by a startup salt mine, Liberty Rock Salt LLC. First time I saw it's a lot different from the other one, but first time that I saw anything from them. So it's not anything binding. It's just asking for consideration for the site. I've got a lot of follow-up questions, so we're just talking more through it, but I did get nothing that needs action.
Okay. The minutes have been pre-read and approved. I entertain a motion to accept. All in favor? Aye. Unfinished business.
Underberg is still working on a couple of those closing books for us. We're just going to get those on the website. That's kind of why we keep them out here, so that we get them up when we get them. The annual statement of financial disclosure, that's the that ethics, I don't know, it's 14, 15 pages of your financial disclosures. It is on the website, but
I emailed it
She
out.
did.
okay, I was going to say, I thought you did something too.
Yeah, and I can send it again if anybody needs it at the top of their inbox.
It does go back confidentially to Michelle Reese. So if you haven't done that yet, just a reminder.
Okay, new business. Paris report.
They just said, Maureen, this is your life for the last 12 months as to what we've been doing. The next, yeah. 3 solid months, Kirsty. 3 solid months of activity putting these together. I did email them out just so that you can take a look at them. Basically, the IDA report is full of all of our projects that have active pilots, sales tax exemptions, or whether they're recording tax exemption within the year. You do have a life-size copy of this so that you can read it. This goes up to the authority's budget office. It gets sort of compiled and disseminated. It's on our website so that anybody can go take a look at anything that has anything to do with our projects. We poll each of these projects every year for what is your current number of jobs. Is there anything still active in terms of exemptions, whether it's a pilot or sales tax? Mortgage reporting is pretty easy. That's a long time ago. But it's all here. We don't tend to go through these line by line. We tend to provide them to you in advance if anything, or if there are any questions. Maureen goes through them line by line. I can tell you that. She has been glued to her computer, as well as Bill and others, I'm sure, that file all this stuff. I'll open it. Any questions?
Well, my question you answered was really be on page 21 on the Scottsville. And that's the school district.
Yeah, so that's the CP Ward, Livingston Associates Power and Construction Group. Due to their property proximity, it's in Livingston County. They pay Town of Caledonia taxes, they pay Livingston County taxes, and they pay Wheatland Chili School District taxes. So it crosses the Monroe County border. That's why you saw Scottsville.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion to accept. Second.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Okay, so Maureen will go upstairs and hit submit on this, at least by the 31st, right?
Yes, I will submit them this afternoon. We still have some due diligence to do. We report the job numbers as they come in. But we've definitely noticed they have to convert them to full-time equivalent, and I think some of the companies get confused with that, so we still have some companies that we're trying to follow up with to say, hey, you reported this many last year and this many this year. Like, there's a pretty big discrepancy there. Did something happen? Or was something reported incorrectly? So we'll do that because we know it's a matter of time before Authority Budget Office reaches out to ask those same questions. But we'll submit the numbers as they were submitted to us for now.
We get a follow-up email, I don't know, May.
Usually August or September when ABO gets through these and reaches out, and they usually have, 20 questions or so. And
There is some seasonality in some of these numbers too. We try and identify those up front and beforehand. Just in the event that somebody scales down in the winter time, that's when these job numbers are typically reported.
Right.
So, we do go back and say, hey, what sort of jobs do you look at during the summertime when you're peak? And then we're able to answer those questions. But it is a report, so we have to put in what is reported to us. That's all we got on there.
All 59 pages. All 59 pages.
we have created 1,389 jobs amongst those projects and those. Thank you.
Great.
Good. Okay, you ready for the executive session?
Yep.
Okay, I take a motion to go into executive session, concerning the purchase, sale, and lease of real property.
We just need to detail why we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Public decision might harm and bargaining position.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to continue, what's he calling this project?
Ryan Dale.
For the Ramdale project in, the industrial park in the village of Dansville. Second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing what we can do down there. Got some comments for you. So, the bid packages are out for the road at Gateway. Armstrong is anxious to get going. They are chomping at the bit, quite honestly. So if the weather would cooperate, I think they would be in there getting themselves a building right now. But I'm looking very, very forward to what the bids come back at and how close they are to the predictions, I guess, that CPL put out there for me. So I don't know. I think, Mary Ellen, I did get one comment back about the MWBE hurdle for the work that needs to be done and whether that's going to be achievable or not.
Yeah.
I only got one comment, but it's always a hurdle as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So, but I sent it out to all the locals that I knew and gave them kind of a quick email saying that it's out there, but I have seen a lot of downloads of the, I forget what that software is called, but it's out there. So see, bid opening is 24th of April, if that's a Friday. So we'll see where we are by the next meeting. The prison proposal got kind of a cryptic note from BOCES yesterday that it's just not advancing through the ranks quickly. So not that it's a dead conversation, it's just not happening. So I'm a little bit discouraged on that one, but nonetheless, we'll keep them active. I did tell you about the communication earlier. That is an active request for the prison property. So when the door closes, one door opens. Let's keep that conversation going as well. CIGP, County Infrastructure Grant Program, we put in for, this is specifically kind of tied for housing preparedness. We put in for DePaul in Dansville to get infrastructure run. It's about a $2 million project. It's 50-50, so they're in for $1 million. We'll see what that one turns out. They got good support from some of the legislators on that as well. So we're in, and we'll see where that one goes. We did put in for Schumer for, what's he call his, congressional district spending requests. We put in for him to try and help support this problem that LMC is having in Dansville with the airport. One of the potential solutions that came to light from the FCC was, FAA, was to, this is complicated, but shorten the runway in one direction. So when you land, when you come in or take off over LMC, it's a 2,500 foot runway. So it's shorter. There's a portion of it that's basically blocked off. However, if you take off and land from the other direction, it's 3,500 feet. You can use the whole thing. What they're trying to do is free up the airspace so that these cranes can be operated. They've got $150 million worth of work. They're bidding $110 million of it's committed. So there's a lot of work down there, 400 jobs. We're just doing what we can to try and come to solutions. I am working in lockstep with Greg and Lou on some of this stuff too. So we're all trying to figure it out together, but we'll see. New York State DOT is supposed to be coming out with some rail grant infrastructure. I heard from the LANL just this week. That could be another possible solution to move some of the rail sidings down there as well. So we're working on both things for this. With Lord willing, we can come to some good conclusions. The confidential project that I was working on in Avon, I have great news on this. It's not for publication at this point in time, so I'm keeping it as a confidential project, but we won. Competitive bids, our competitive package went in February against one other site in one other state that I'm aware of, and we were able to successfully get that. We were notified by the company that they're going to move forward here. So we're very, very thrilled about that. A lot of work went into that. I will throw a shout out to Greater Rochester Enterprise. They were a huge help for us on this in coordinating some efforts from agencies that we don't normally communicate with. They were able to cut through the red tape and get proposals kicked in for that. NIPA being one of them, the Power Authority, which was a significant portion of the incentive. this. So big thanks to them. I just wanted to give you an editorial. I heard a presentation yesterday, and I've been watching this one in Genesee County, this data center. It's a pretty interesting deal, and I don't think that there's a lot of great information out there about it. The pilot for this, it's a $19 billion project. It's going insane. Town of Oakfield.
It's in Alabama.
Alabama, right next to the
Alabama.
Rams.
So it's $19 billion, 2.2 million square feet. All of that is comprised in 300,000 square foot, 2-story buildings. So it's not 2.2 out this way, it's 300, 2 stories. The pilot is 115% of assessed valuation of full pilot. So in other words, they are paying 115% of their tax bill associated with this. So more than what's due under their assessment. It's $7 million is where it starts in year one. It climbs 2% annually. So 500 megawatts it's absolutely astronomically huge. But it's the water usage, which is a big kind of sticking point with I think some of the folks that have been showing up to the public hearings. It's 20,000 gallons per day. It's a closed loop system that will cool the servers. But from what I could tell yesterday, the 20,000 gallons is like new to the loop. So 20,000 is like 3 houses. I'm sorry, 7 houses, 3,000 a day. So it's not a huge water user, and that would be the cooling process. They are looking for some significant exemptions, and this is another big point, is they've got $1.4 billion of sales tax exemption that they're requesting for the servers. They're all taxable. The interesting thing I did not know about this is there are 14 states that were competing for this that don't charge sales tax on servers. So they were already starting with a $1.4 billion head start by not doing that. So it is garnering a lot of attention as lost sales tax. It's actually just sales tax that's not charged. But Genesee County needed this in order to be able to, I guess, level the playing field with the other states. Electricity wise, the other concern is that it could increase rates among the other electrical users in the area. There's a 600 megawatt allotment at Stamp already. This is using 500 of it. So it's not really doing that. The problem with where the electricity rates are being increased is that we're importing more energy right now than we are supplying ourselves. So
Which seems odd, seeing that we're covered in solar panels.
it's
So ironic.
not producing enough. We shut down some of that power producing before we put the same power back on the grid. So nonetheless, they have this existing allotment that they were provided for Stamp. So this is basically using their own allotment of power. It's really quite an interesting proposal that we went through. 125 jobs. So there are not many jobs associated with this. They are average salary $88,000. There are some big numbers that are kind of being kicked around as a host community agreement and things like that are going to benefit. Genesee County actually plans to use the funding from this to finish all the water service throughout Genesee, their major project. So it's interesting. I think data centers are getting discounted very quickly. We don't have power. So if I had 500 megawatts, I think we use 500 megawatts in this county, but
Could we get power?
well, that would be interesting.
I told you about those 5 nuclear reactors that were going to Colorado.
Yeah. I mean,
5,000 houses apiece.
there is I don't know where it is in the political system, but I believe it was the governor that proposed that any data center needs to generate its own power. So if it's not using grid, well, it'd be using power from the grid, but it's replacing it or using it their own, however you want to look at that. That would be interesting, Gary, to look at some kind of a self-generating data center.
They looked at Mount Morris and called me. I put a moratorium on there because they can hook up right to the grid.
Yeah.
Underneath the solar.
With the nuclear, this whole containment.
No, they want to use our solar to generate
Oh,
the data center. They could follow the lines and everything, so we put a moratorium on that because of the noise. The waters, for us, the water's issue, but they'll put their own water lines in, but it's the noise from the fans. They're saying they're using water, but the water's being used by the fans to, and at
Cool.
nighttime, to cool it. So there's a lot of,
That came up too, Dave, thanks for the noise. Where this sits in Stamp's a 1,250 acre.
Prop 63, right?
Yeah, it's enormous. So this is not sitting next to somebody's home. It's like sitting on one edge of the park that's out in the middle of nowhere. So, but noise was raised. Yeah.
It's right next to the reservation. They're fighting with that.
Yeah, it's not gonna be an easy sell,
No.
because I got a friend that lives up there, and there's more against it than there are for it.
But the building's there, that's the problem. We put that building up for that other company that backed out.
Plug power. Yeah.
So now you have an empty facility that's just sitting there.
Yeah, it's just, it was a really interesting read. Everything that I'm seeing out there is like data center bad. I just wanted to kind of throw some positives out there that.
Oh, yeah, it's good, it's money,
It's
it's cash.
Yeah, and I know that's not the end all be all, but, on a community that's probably got a $2 million budget annually, they're gonna pick up 1.8 in new money.
Even that, in Alabama,
Yeah.
there's nothing. It's
Yeah.
like Alabama, Oakville.
So,
And
anyway,
also, this is a lot like the old days of Fillmore and Castile. When power came in there and cogeneration, and those residents don't pay anything.
that'd be nice.
So could we make that work on the, you see this thing that you got?
Want me to
here?
try? National Grid did approach me about whether we would take a look at and consider nuclear.
How do they prove, like, I appreciate the governor saying, you know, okay, we're gonna make them generate their own power, enough power to sustain. Okay, month 6 through 12, like that is enforced and tracked, like after that point, like who's confirming that they're tied into the grid? And those panels aren't working, or it's gray and we're generating 2% in January. Who's coming back and saying, wait a second, you're pulling from the grid, the deal was you'd be subsidizing that.
We've got rolling brownouts that very
Right,
easily can
I
happen.
guess, who enforces that?
It could be Public Service Commission, it could be utility. I mean, utilities only,
Or as,
yeah, I guess whereas, I'm not sure, I haven't seen much.
it's all under public service now.
Right, yes,
So that's where everything's falling under now.
with power generation, don't take this the wrong way, it's less of a risk because it's power generation. It's not
Mhm.
taking away anything, we're not putting enough or what we said we could put out.
Yeah,
So, yeah, in a way, there is a risk to that because we need the lights to work, and if they're not putting on enough to make these lights work, we're in a problem. With a data center, if they're powering their own and then all of a sudden they're not powering enough, now they're a consumer,
right,
which is a bigger issue.
right.
That's
what I
where a
mean.
risk will come in.
Yeah,
So I'd be more concerned with them not powering enough for themselves.
right, that's what I mean, like after that point, like
sorry.
once they've become a consumer and this whole deal was built on that you'd have to be self-sufficient.
We haven't had a consumer of that kind of power yet at this point. So it hasn't really.
Nobody has, that's the problem.
Yeah,
So nobody knows really
Right.
what to do.
it's a great point. Great point. I would hope that,
Like, everybody-
utilities would certainly know.
Right, I just feel like everybody pays attention at the forefront and then,
The meter should tell you the story.
right,
Are we using or are we producing? And then as with Craig Station, net metering. So they're aware that they're putting more on than they
Right.
may use. Is right.
But it's something to look at,
It's something.
because these data centers aren't going away.
I mean, you say nuclear and everybody kind of goes, "Ooh, hey," but they are these modular
Yeah,
things that are,
Campus, you were saying about Toronto. Toronto's putting them
Toronto's.
in, yeah, they're not big.
I don't have anything to tell you today, so let's not react, but, it would be interesting.
I just see on WXXI on the 5 that they were sending to the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
Where that's made, I don't know. I'm hoping made in this country, but I don't know.
No, we made a trial in Canada right now.
So they are made,
Micro nuclear.
Yeah,
Each one does like 30.
MNR, NCR.
30,000 houses. They're starting right now, they're opening up in trial.
well, we gotta look at it.
We chased it. Google doesn't do it any justice. I'd like to put some eyes on one of these things.
Plus, it looks like it's driving all this.
I feel like it was, and then we put a moratorium on crypto with the state. I don't know if it's still around or not, but,
IA might be driving it too.
and maybe that's a component of the data
AI is
center.
the
I
other
don't
thing.
know. AI is
a big
definitely.
issue. Okay, anything else? We'll probably get into the project at the railroad and motels with the, you know, the brewery, when we get into the other meeting. We've been talking there.
Oh, yes, Rising Storm. Yes, yeah, you're in a different part. Yeah.
What do you want?
No, we can do that in the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yep.
do we need to register?
No, not this point. We're good.
Good. Okay, nothing else. I'd adjourn this meeting and open the meeting for the Livingston County Development Corporation.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we gotta wait.
Yeah.